Cool, look. I can't do that. Cool, look. Cool, look. How did they do that? Hello, welcome to the Great White North. And it's cold. It's like, I don't know, what's the temperature? Temperature Lagodeki. Temperature in Lagodeki is, yeah. This 30-day thing doesn't actually work. I tried it. -1. Dang. So I went for the bike ride when it was 0. I don't know. It's like there's not much difference between 0 and 1. So I had shorts on, flip-flops, and gloves, and a sweater, and a vest over top of the sweater, and a toque. And then as I climbed the hill, I took off the toque, and then I opened up the sweater and the vest. I was going pretty slow today. I didn't really feel like pushing it, so I didn't really sweat. So yeah, I stayed like right at body temperature-ish. But now the apartment is also cold, so I closed the door. Usually I have a door open to the balcony. It's open all the time. It's basically I live in a tent. That's what it feels like. Like I live next to the mountains, and my apartment is the end apartment. So I have like the view of the mountains in the north, and I have a view of the river on the west, and I have a view of the other apartment building on the south. Yeah, it would have been nice if that other apartment building wasn't there, because there's actually a valley, and it's, I think there's somewhat of a view. I'm not really sure actually. Anyways, this is the best view here with the mountains. Today, when I put on like all these layers this evening, so sometimes it looks like I can't breathe because I have like blankets under my chin, and I kind of like changed my setup of layers so I can be more mobile. I started thinking about like the samurai and the Roman guards and any men who have had to wear protective clothing while fighting, and you have to be able to like withstand the sharp cuts and the strong blows from your enemy foes, but then like at the same time you have to have mobility. So it's interesting kind of putting on all these layers so I can protect myself from the -1. Like I'm sure inside the apartment it's not quite as cold. It's basically been hovering around 8 degrees, and then now that it's down to -1, I suppose it's probably maybe it's 7 or 6 degrees inside the apartment. But I got so many layers on that it's just heat management. I was so scared this whole like moving into this winter, like I wouldn't be able to handle it. In fact, the next couple days it's supposed to be like -6 and -7 for basically the next 5 days. The high during the day will be 0 or 1, and then the question is, can you handle it? And it's like, no, I couldn't like a few months ago, but we've been dealing with it day by day, and we've learned how to create layers and how to manage the temperature. And at the same time, I wear shorts and flip-flops like literally every day outside just to like acclimatize to the cold. So anyways, remember we were talking about this whole thing here about like having some kind of challenge. And I thought the challenge meant I was supposed to do it every day, but then I realized I wasn't doing it every day. So now I'm like, well, what kind of challenge is this? Apparently it's not an everyday challenge, because I'm not doing this every day. Yeah. In my other life, it's just like I've just been putting in a lot of work, and I'm like right now, like I learned how to use AI tools, and I learned how to like design stuff, and I don't know. It's a lot of work, and sometimes at the end of the day, I just don't have any energy left, and I'm just not in the mood. And that's really the key, right? It's like, how do you force yourself to do work when you're not in the mood. And I'm of the mind of like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not gonna like go crazy. What's the point in going crazy? Like I'm doing this right now, like, cause I'm like, I want to. Now I gotta check this. I'm not really sure if it did this correctly. Let's just check the text in English first. See if we got the correct information. All right, let's just do this sentence by sentence. All right, so today's text, we're gonna do it in 4 languages. Let's start with the English. Australia has a new rule for children under 16. They cannot use social media. Big apps take away child accounts and stop new ones. If they do not do it, they will pay a lot of money. Yeah, it's like millions, I heard. Millions. Country says that the rule helps children. Many children have problems with sleep. They're angry and scared. Some doctors see more young people with strong stress, and very young children have trouble using their phones. Some people like the rule. They say that the apps care more about the money than about children. Yeah, obviously. Okay, the question is, where are the parents in this whole process? The apps use ideas which keep children online for a long time. Yeah, called entertainment. Other children can still find a way how to be online, and then pay millions of dollars. And they want more safe rules and more learning. Okay, so the English is good. It's the same as the website. I mean, it's like when I was a kid, we had this thing called television. I don't know if you heard of it. So then parents would be like, okay, turn off the TV and go to bed. And then we would turn off the TV and go to bed. And then after the parents had gone to sleep, then we would wake up again. And then we would go watch TV. Because I lived in the basement. I could do whatever I want. And I would watch TV at night, like for hours. And then go to sleep. Then the crazy thing was that our family delivered newspapers in the morning. So then I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. after like staying up until like 1 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't a good idea. And nothing much has changed. L'Australie a une nouvelle règle pour les enfants de where are we? Une règle pour les enfants de moins de 16 ans. Ils ne peuvent pas utiliser les médias sociaux, les grands appareils, suppriment les comptes des enfants et en arrête de nouveau. Si elles ne le font pas, elles devront payer beaucoup d'argent. Le pays affirme que cette règle aide les enfants. Beaucoup d'enfants ont des problèmes de sommeil. Ils sont en colère et en peur. Certains médecins voient plus de jeunes gens très stressés. I'm très stressé. Certains très jeunes enfants ont également des problèmes avec l'utilisation de leur téléphone. Certaines personnes apprécient leurs règles. Il dit que les applications se aussi plus de l'argent que les enfants. Les applications utilisent des idées qui permettent aux enfants de rester en ligne pendant longtemps. D'autres personnes n'aiment pas cette règle. Il dit que les enfants peuvent toujours trouver un moyen. You see this a lot. Un moyen. What is the meaning of it? Moyen d'être en ligne. Il veut plus de règles, sécurité, plus d'apprentissage. В Австралии действует новое правило для детей младше 10. Russian or Chinese? 16 is Chinese. 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 17. That's French. ER sense. I can't flip to the numbers fast in my head. Russian is RT. Orisami. That's Georgian. Jeez. I can't pop into it that easily. I can't remember. I literally can't remember. Okay, how am I going to remember? Piat Larry. Piat 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can't remember 16. 15. 16. Okay. В Австралии действует новое правило. Действует. What is this действует? В Австралии действует новое правило для детей младше 60. 15. No, I can't remember numbers so easy. Dang, I feel retarded. Anyways, они не могут пользоваться. L'Australie a une nouvelle règle pour les enfants de moins de 16 ans. В Австралии действует une. Okay, so in French it says has one new law. In Australia, the Australia has one new law. That's what actually it says. The Australia has one new law. Now I think it's possible. I'm not sure, but the new. You can't do it with incognito mode. Australia has a new rule for children. So действует is what has a new rule. Has действует means has. Is valid. So what does that mean? Validated? Validated a new rule? A new rule applies. In Australia, a new rule applies. So it means is valid or applies. In Australia, a new rule applies to children under the age of 16. Okay, so in French, it just says, there is a new rule. And it's same in English. What about Chinese? 澳大利亚对16岁以下的儿童制定。Okay, so they established or they created developed, formulate. Established, 制定. So 制造的制 and 定做的 I don't know what the 定 is. So like the meaning of these two characters, they actually make up two other characters. So 制 it means to create, and to 定 it means to like establish, to put in its place. So they created and implemented. It was both created and put into law. So yeah, I think put into law or introduced, but it's not just the introduction part, but it's also the establishment or creation. В Австралии действует, but the thing is, действие. So what's it? The question is, what is действие? It's an action. It's an action or behavior. So in Australia, there was an action to. So an action is the same as 制定. The 制定 is like it's about creation, and in Russian it's about action, and then in French and English it just has. There is a new law. It's just a matter of fact. В Австралии действует новое правило для детей младше 16. Okay. So 16 is kind of like English. We say 16. 16, 15, 11. So, for example, 10 is 10. 10. And then after 10, then they say 19. Один, so it's 1. 19. 10. 12. 2. 10. 13. 13. 14. 14. 15. 15. 16. 16. 17. 17. 18. 19. 20. 20. So there's 12 is 12. 20 is 20. 16. So, but in English we say 11, 12, 13. So 11 and 12 are kind of strange. 11 and 12. It should be 1 teen and 2 teen. And then it's 13, 14, 15. So 11, 12, 13. So in Russian it's normal. In French, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So in French, it's actually worse than English because they have 11, meaning 11, 12 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 17. So suddenly we say 10, 7, 18, 10, 8, 19, 10, 9. So it's like more closer to English because we have the 11, 12 before we go to 13. So Russian and Chinese is more scientific, and English and French is just crazy. That I don't know, they have some strange experience between. In fact, I'm kind of curious about that. What is this? All right, so what? Hello. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about this idea. You see that in the French language, then they have something special where they say 11, 12, and then they say 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, in English, well, you see you're writing numbers on my screen, I can see, but the thing is, if we use the word, so for example, in Chinese, what they say is 11, 12, 13. So it's Okay, so you're not able to write down the Chinese letter, like the Chinese words as I speak to you. Anyways, but what they're saying is they're saying 10, 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 10, 4, 10, 5, 10, 6, 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 9, and then 2, 10. Now Russian, so that's very scientific, it's very clear, there's no exceptions, it's just very, very clear. You have a 10, and then you have a 1, and then you have a 10, and then you have a 2. You have a 10, and then you have a 3, and then you have a 10, and you have a 4. So it's very scientific. Now in Russian, it seems like it has the same concept, because in Russian, it's like 1 teen, 2 teen, 3 teen, 4 teen, 5 teen, 16, 17, 18, 19. So in Russia, it's like very clear how they have a number and then teen. But in English, it's like 11, that's like there's no teen, and 12, there's no teen, and then we start with 13, and then from 13 to 19, we always use the word teen. Now in French, it's similar, but it's opposite. So what they say is they have this way of explaining 11. The word is 11, 12. Okay, you can't write French. Okay, so anyways, there's a word for 11, there's a word for 12, and then it doesn't use the word teen until you get up to like 10, 7, 10, 8, and 10, 9. So it uses the Chinese for 10, 7, 10, 8, and 10, 9, but everything up to that is kind of like a strange situation. Now, when we look at the difference of like, why would you have, like, you don't have the same pattern. So in Russian, you have like, oh yeah, in Russian it breaks the pattern because it says 11, 12, 13, 14. No, that's French. Okay, so in French, between 11 and 16, it has words specifically for those numbers that don't use the word teen. They don't use teen until 17, 18, and 19. And then in English, we have like the same thing, where the first couple of numbers, we don't use teen. We don't use teen until 13. So there's basically two numbers, 11 and 12, that are breaking the pattern. Now, the question I have is like, what is the historical reason for English breaking the pattern between 12 and 13, and French is breaking the pattern between 16 and 17, of using like the teen for like the next couple of numbers in the case of French, and then not using teen for 11 and 12 in the English language. So I'm starting to fall asleep already. We didn't even read it yet. Alright, let's let it work on that. We'll do something else. Они не могут пользоваться. What is пользоваться? Пользоваться. Les gens appellent supprime. It's just a second sentence. Ils ne peuvent pas utiliser les médias sociaux. They cannot use пользоваться. Use. They can't utilize. Поле. And then this is a le sound. Поле. So, like for example, Australie, you just go right into li. Pravilo, law. And then in this case, it's a Mickey snack. Mickey snack is not an actual letter. It's like Pluto. It's like a half. It's like a midget letter. And it doesn't. You don't actually pronounce it. We kind of pronounce it like so. Pole. You say Polsavatia. Here's another one. Sociale. Socialni. Sociale. Nimi. Nui. And here's Nui. Mui. Sitiami. They cannot utilize social media. Coupe. Kupnia приложение. What does that even mean? Kupnia. What's that? Le grand appli supprime les comptes des enfants. What are they talking about? Les grands applis. Did we see the word appli before? Les grands applis suppriment les comptes des enfants. Kupnie приложение удаляют действия аккаунты и блокируют новые. Is it to run away from? To be thrown off? 他们不能使用社交媒体。大应该会在社除儿童账户并组织新。Oh, here it is again. Bing. Okay, so it's 消除 delete. Big apps, they cannot be used. Big apps take away the accounts. Big apps take away accounts and stop new ones. Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling. Coupled, to throw off or to take away. In fact, let's take those words and see if we can prove it to me. Удаляют действия аккаунты и блокируют новые. I think that's the easy part. It's the last part. Okay, Russian, Chinese. Kupnia and large applications are being removed. Well, that's not actually what it says. Are deleting children's accounts. Large. So this must be major. Kupnia. Major applications. Here it is. Udalit is delete. Kupnia. So it means big. Large. Kupnia. And les grands applis. Oh, big applications. It's les grands applis. Supprimons les comptes des enfants. Des comptes is account. Supprimons, they delete the account des enfants et arrête de nouveau. Si elles ne le font pas, elles devront payer beaucoup d'argent. Si elles, if she ne le font pas, if they don't do it. Appli is feminine, plural. So if they do not do it, they devront, are required to pay a lot of money. Le pays affirme que cette règle aide les enfants. Bien sûr. Если они этого не сделают, if they don't do it, то then заплатят много денег. Okay, so I'm guessing this means this is like they're using some kind of either future tense, plural future tense. English. Why do we stop at 12? The numbers 1 to 12 are unique words, and teens don't start until 13. Leftover theory. The reason lies in the ancient Proto-Germanic ancestor English, German, and Dutch. The words for 11 and 12 are actually formed differently than 13. 11 comes from Old English. This traces back to the front phrase meaning one left, literally one left after counting to 10. One left after counting to 10. My goodness. Well, I've counted to 10, and there's still one left. 12 comes from 12th, which is, this traces back to the phrase meaning two left after 10. So, but why is it so important for them to count to 10? French is a romance language, meaning it evolved from Latin. The French weirdness is a result of phonetic laziness. How words slur together over time. Slurring Latin in Latin. Numbers 11 through 16 flow quite easily. Over centuries, the French chewed up these Latin words, swallowing the middle sound until they became short, single words. One French ones, onze, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 11. So, what was it? 17, 18. So, what is it? 10 ans, 10 ans, 2 ans, 3 ans, 17, 18, 19, 10, 14, 15, 16. But why did they put the D in the second part of the word? Why isn't 17 like words like the word is septedecim? It's much longer and has a heavier stress pattern. I don't know what I'm talking about. Они этого не сделают. Изар заплатят много денег. Страна говорит, что это правило помогает. Страна, what is this? Страна говорит. Страна говорит. Beaucoup d'enfants ont des problèmes de sommeil. That's not that sentence. Strana говорит. Le pays affirme que cette règle aide les enfants. Если, where's the if? Okay, here's if she doesn't do it, she will have to pay a lot of money. Если они этого не сделают, заплатят много денег. Le pays affirme que cette règle aide les enfants. Strana. Strana это стран. So the country. The country says, что это правило помогает детям. У многих детей проблемы со сном. They have a lot of problems sleeping. Они what is this? Элятся и боятся. Элятся. Ils sont en colère. They're afraid and what? They're afraid and something.许多孩子都有睡眠问题，他们会生气 become angry 以害怕。So this means angry. Элятся и боятся. Некоторые врач видит больше молодых людей с сильным стрессом. Некоторым очень маленьким детям тоже трудно пользоваться своими телефонами. Некоторые люди это правило, они говорят, что приложение больше заботятся о деньгах, чем о детях. Предложение использует идеи, которые удерживают детей из сети на долгое время. Да, другим людям это правило не нравится. Они говорят, что детей все равно могут найти способ, как быть онлайн. Они хотят более безопасных правил и больше обучения. 澳大利亚对16岁以下的制定了一项新规则，他们不能使用社会媒体。什么大型 ？This what is this large scale？ 大型什么意思？大型 the group on the large large scale yes large scale companies 应用会删除儿童账户并组织新账户。如果他们不这样做，他们将支付很多钱。该国表示这项规则有助于儿童。许多孩子都有睡眠问题，他们会生气和害怕。一些医生看到更多有强烈压力的年轻人，一些非常小的孩子在使用手机方面的也会有困难。有些人喜欢这项规则，他们说这些应该更关心金钱而不是儿童。这些应用使用能让儿童长时间在线的方法。其他人不喜欢这项规则，他们的孩子仍然可以找到这什么？这可以找到这线的方法。他们希望有更安全的规则和更多有学习，但